Hey, what's up, YouTube world, whatever. Um, I wanted to make a response video, and sorry about my voice and everything. I'm not saying I have a perfect voice, but yeah, I just woke up, so voice a little groggy, and then sound outside, I had my window open. But I was watching this video titled "Why There Isn't a Pokemon MMO," and I wanted to make a response to it because. Yeah, I just wanted to respond to it because I don't completely agree with everything she says. But anyways, here we go.
Hey Pokemon fans, Tamashi here. It seems like lately, there's a lot of demand for a Pokemon MMO. And I have to admit, I understand why. I myself have wanted to try a Pokemon MMO ever since I was first introduced to the genre in the early 2000s. The Pokemon universe seems built for a real-time interactive experience with many different people. I think somewhere in the back of all of our minds, we want to be able to travel together, battle and trade each other while collecting badges, all in a Pokemon world populated with real people, not NPCs. There have been a few fan-made Pokemon MMOs recently with varying degrees of success, but unfortunately, Nintendo and Game Freak don't seem to have plans to make an official Pokemon MMO a reality. And today I'm going to share a few reasons why. Number 1. MMOs are not usually profitable and fail more often than succeed. Your standard MMO often costs between $60 and $100 million to develop. And on top of that, there is servers to maintain, ongoing maintenance and patches, and the constant development of new content. With so much money involved, creating an MMO is a huge risk, and unfortunately, modern MMOs often face the reality that risk doesn't always come with reward.
And I believe that Pokemon would never come across that problem. Now, I do agree with her partially, but I believe that Pokemon is so damn popular that they would not run into that problem. Now, I do agree that Pokemon, there is a potential for a Pokemon MMO to have this problem. And the reason being is because Nintendo, I'm sure if they made a Pokemon MMO, they will make it for their Wii consoles. And that's kind of where the problem will come in because Nintendo caters to a niche group. Most people who play Nintendo games usually are die-hard Nintendo fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are people who love Nintendos. I'm not saying that they just only play Nintendos, but most people who play Nintendos, they are like loyal freaking fans. I know some people who own Nintendo products. I personally don't because I really don't like Nintendo games, but people who do, they love, Nintendo's like a cult following, and they cater to their cult following, their little niche group. So they will probably have issues with that, but trust me, if they did come out with a Pokemon MMO, and I'm talking about 2D one, because anybody can do that, and they have 2D ones right now, but if they came out with a great 3D Pokemon MMO, you know how many people will be like, hey, fuck that. I'm buying me a Wii U or, any the device that they put it on. A lot of people would do that. A lot of people like, fuck that. I am playing this Pokemon game. People have literally bought Xboxes just to play Halo and have bought a PS3 just to play PS3 exclusive games like The Last of Us and all this other crap. So, Angry Joe was one of them. Anyways, but yeah, so people, I believe that Pokemon will do extremely well. I don't think that the console, it just being on Nintendo will stop people from buying that damn game, because I know for sure I would. Now, another problem that they may run across, if they do have any problems, is that Pokemon isn't as popular as it used to be because the generation that grew up on it hardcore, they're getting much older now. We're starting to approach our 30s, and people have lives now. They have families to take care of, and they, that generation has left, and Pokemon isn't as popular as it used to be in the late 90s and the early 2000s. It's not as popular. Now, they may run across that problem, and they really have nobody else to blame but themselves, because they waited so long. If they did come out with a MMO, they waited so long to do so when they should have jumped on top of the gravy train back when all these other MMOs were coming out. You know what I'm saying? Because Pokemon would have definitely beat all these other MMOs because it's just way too popular. It's way more popular than all these other no-name MMOs. Pokemon is way more popular than the most popular MMO, which is World of Warcraft. There are more people who like Pokemon than people who like World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft only had Warcraft games before they came out, and Warcraft wasn't even that popular. Warcraft had an even smaller niche group than Pokemon. Almost everybody in Japan loves Pokemon. People outside of Japan loves Pokemon. Back when Warcraft had came out, when it was just the real-time strategy game, it was only a small group of people who played the game, and those were people mainly in the US and Europe. Small group of people. Warcraft only gained popularity through its MMO RPG, which was, World of Warcraft. But Pokemon is way more popular than Warcraft would ever be. You know what I'm saying? So, I can't say that because who knows? One day it may be more popular than Pokemon, but Pokemon has a way bigger fan base. So, I don't believe that even if they threw $100 million to develop this game, I believe that they will multiply that money at least fivefold. You know what I'm saying? Because they're that damn popular. I just believe in sales. They would, triple or even get 5 times the amount of money that they had, spent on making the game. So I don't believe that financially they would run across any type of problems. Now,
I'm sure if you're even slightly interested in MMOs, you're already aware of the mega successful World of Warcraft. With millions of players from around the world, it's the most highly successful MMO in history. In fact, it's so successful, it makes it nearly impossible for any other MMOs to succeed.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, she doesn't understand that, yes, World of Warcraft, their revenue and their popularity takes over more than half of all of MMOs, you know what I'm saying? But what she doesn't realize is that Pokemon is way more popular than World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft even tried to introduce a Pokemon mechanic into the game, which I thought was somewhat entertaining. It was. I enjoyed it for a short time. But I wanted a Pokemon MMO. And I love World of Warcraft. But I wanted a Pokemon MMO. And, Pokemon is way different from World of Warcraft. Yes, there's going to be battles and duels and stuff like that. But you're dueling with a freaking Pokemon. You're not fighting with your own character, like a rogue, warlock, mage, anything like that. You're not doing that. I think it's funny because I just named the classes I played with on World of Warcraft. But anyways, I love World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft was a great game. But Pokemon is totally different. Pokemon is way more popular. So I think with sales, they will not go wrong. The only way they will go wrong, they would have no problem selling units at all. I'm telling you, the first day they release pre-orders, they would sell out. I'm not even joking. They will freaking sell out the first day they release pre-orders. They will have problems keeping up with the damn pre-orders. I'm not even lying. I know that would happen because the game is will be so popular. But the only problem that they will probably have is maintaining the game if the game isn't that great. That's the only thing I will have to worry about. The longevity of the game. Can they maintain the game? Because really, I don't think that a Pokemon MMO would be so complicated because they already have the system in place with the handheld versions of the game. They already have an MMO based game. The only thing is that it's just not MMO. It's just not an MMO RPG. You know what I'm saying? They already have that mechanic set in place, but they just won't expand on it. Which is my problem. I don't understand why. I just think that more than anything, it's just the traditional mindset of the Japanese. I'm not trying to sound like a xenophobe or anything like that because I'm not racist or a xenophobe. But Japanese have proven over and over again in the gaming industry that they're traditional. So much so that even the fans, and I think it's more just because the fans are very traditional over there. They like to keep everything the same way. I really don't like to progress. That's why video games in Japan, many reports have said that they're 10 years behind Western gaming when it comes to development and mechanics, game mechanics and stuff like that, because they're so traditional. And then also the funding. That's another thing too. They get crappy funding over there. There's a lot of the developers who want to, be advanced, have advanced, mechanics in their games and, progress, but they just don't get the funding that they need to do that. And that's very sad, man. It's the same thing with anime also. That's why every once in a while you get this great anime. And you're like, damn, I wish every anime was like this, with the animation and stuff. But anyways, back to what she said.
MMOs are designed to be played to the exclusion of everything else, and players won't typically play 2 MMOs at once. Once you start playing World of Warcraft, it's designed to keep you there for as long as possible. There's endless content to consume, a robust player economy, and social ties that keep players from trying.
Must I say again, Pokemon is totally different from World of Warcraft. And actually, I used to play World of Warcraft is the longest. I probably say I played that game more than any other game in my life, just because it takes so long to level and stuff like that. I started playing World of Warcraft back in 2007. I believe 2007, because I think the game came out in 2005 or 2004. I actually started playing it like 05, because my older brother, he was in college at the time, and he played it in college. He played it when it first came out, and yeah, him and his college buddies, and me and my brothers used to go up to his dorm and used to play with him. When we used to go and visit him, we used to play on his computer, play the game. And then I actually bought it for myself like about a year later, when I had bought me a computer and stuff. So I had played that game for a long time. But not only while I was playing that, I played other MMOs like Perfect Worlds. That was the second MMO that I played, and it was free, and it was a pretty decent game. It wasn't as great as World of Warcraft, but it was actually a pretty damn good. It was a pretty damn great game for it to be free. You know what I'm saying? And that was years ago. And I had played other MMOs at the time. For example, I was playing World of Warcraft and Kingdom Under Fire. I believe that's the name. I'm not sure that's the name. But yeah, Kingdom Under Fire, which was based on the Kingdom Under Fires that were on the Xbox and the plate. No, I think it was just on the Xbox. I don't know, it may have been the PlayStation, but we had it on the Xbox. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people aren't just stuck to one MMO. Now, maybe if you're paying for both of them, yeah, maybe you would. No, that's not true. Because I was playing World of Warcraft and playing the Old Republic at the same time. Star Wars Old Republic. So that's not true. I mean, and the reason why I could do that was because they were totally different games. They were two different type of games. One was very story-based. Old Republic was very story-based. And I strictly played that game for the story, because the PvP, and anybody who plays that and plays like World of Warcraft will tell you that the PvP in Star Wars sucked badly. But the story was so damn good. The story is so good that you will go through every class just to get through the story. You know what I'm saying? So people will play Pokemons for different reasons. They won't play it for the same reason they're playing World of Warcraft, because the game will be totally different. The mechanics, the battle mechanics within it will be totally different, and I'm sure it will have a totally different feel. Just like World of Warcraft and Star Wars, they're both based in battle, but they feel so different though. They feel totally different. And one of those differences I could tell you is that in World of Warcraft, you have to watch it back 24/7 because you feel like you're gonna get ganked. You're always on edge when you're out there in the contestant territories. But in in Star Wars or Republic, you barely see anybody that you're not worried about anything. You just go through with your story and stuff, and then you instance so much in there. And World of Warcraft have a lot of instances now to where you instance when you're doing different missions and stuff like that. But back then, when level 60 and 70 were the highest, instances only really existed within the instances. You didn't get instanced out while doing a quest. That started back with Wrath of the Lich King, so you were always on edge. And anybody who played World of Warcraft back then knows about STV and the struggle in STV. Man, because when you got there, hell broke loose, man. But yeah, there was just gankers everywhere. But anyways, we're not here to talk about that. But yes, you can play multiple MMOs at the same time. I have done it. I have done it. So I believe that that argument is invalid about, you know, and I can understand she's trying to make points and stuff, but she has to realize that Pokemon, and you know, just judging from her avatar, I would think that she knows that. I mean, I know that she's a Pokemon fan, but come on, Pokemon. You know, I could understand her argument if there was a Dragon Ball Z MMO RPG. If there was a Dragon Ball, which there is, but not here in America, it's not global. Now, if they had a global Dragon Ball Z MMORPG, okay, now I can understand her, you know, arguing her case.
new games. If you're the only one ditching WoW for a new title, you'll eventually be pulled back into WoW if none of your friends follow you. Pokemon might have a...
That's not true. That's not necessarily true, because when I went to go and play Star Wars The Old Republic, only me and my older brother went to go and play the game. My cousins and my younger brothers, they didn't follow us to the game, but we really didn't give a damn. I mean, we would ask them, like, come on, man, y'all should come and play this game with us, but they didn't want to. Okay, who cares? And the thing is that you will always make friends. You will always make new friends, even if your brother. Because let me tell you this: my younger cousin, when we left World of Warcraft, my younger cousin would still play World of Warcraft even when we were gone, because we used to run around as a little crew. It was about like 5, 6 of us, and we would run around just gank and have just a great time. I think I even have a video of us killing, because we played Alliance. We killed like 20 horde. I'm not even joking. Like, I actually have a video of us just wiping them out. 20 horde. Like, we were just destroying them, man. Great times. And that's what brings us back to the game. It's just having great times. And I believe that Pokemon, if it's a great game, they will never lose their customers. But, anyways, you will definitely leave to play a great game. You won't give a fuck. If you really want to play a game, you won't care if people follow you, because you will always make new friends. And why would you expect to have the same friends when going to a new game? Why not make new friends? You know what I'm saying? Why not have new acquaintances? You know what I'm saying? You're always going to do it because your friends aren't going to follow you to every game. I don't know why you would want to do that. I mean, obviously I don't have real lives and stuff, but I would assume that, you know, and speaking of MMOs, like, I love cars. I'm into cars. Me and my cousin are probably the only people in my family who are really into cars. I love cars a lot. And when I found out that the crew was coming out, oh, I was all on it. I was the only person in my family to play the game. And nobody in my family plays with me in that game to this day. And I don't, quite frankly, I don't give a fuck. Because it's about what I enjoy. And I enjoy the game, and I made friends in that game. Even while I was playing it in beta, I made friends with people in the beta. So, you know, what she's saying right now really doesn't matter, you know. And she's giving them more of an excuse to not make the game, which I think is pretty sad. I mean, I'm sure she wants the game, but I think she's being empathetic towards the idea of them not making a game, which to me doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense if you're a Pokemon fan. Anyways.
Huge fan base. But not every single Pokemon fan is also interested in MMORPGs, especially given that the market for MMOs in itself is relatively small, when compared to the ever-growing handheld gaming platform Pokemon.
Which is true. Every Pokemon fan may not want a Pokemon MMO, but that's why they have all the other versions of Pokemon. You know what I'm saying? That's why they could simply just play the non-MMO versions. You know what I'm saying? But why not cater to both your fans? Why not cater to fans who want an MMO and then cater to your fans who don't want MMOs? What, are we not multitaskers? She makes it seem like people are just like linear and can only just do one thing. Like we're like monolinear. Like we just only do one thing and just go on one line. No, people can actually multitask, and we can actually work on more than one project at the same time. This is why you have different development companies, you know what I'm saying, to develop multiple titles. Now, I'm not saying that they should do that or that they have to do that or anything like that, but she makes us sound so like I don't know, but she just makes it seem like, okay, well, you can't play 2 MMOs at one time. Yes, you can. I have done it before, many times before, and millions of other people have done it also. And then she says, what did she just say? I kind of forgot what she said. Oh yeah, and then she said that that people may not want a MMORPG. Well, make 2 games. Make an MMORPG version, and then make a regular version. I mean, look at Dragon Ball Z. They came out with Xenoverse, and just like less than a year before that, they came out with a game very similar to Xenoverse, but it wasn't an online version. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay. And other companies do this all the time within the same game. Now, my suggestion would be like what I want. My perfect Pokemon MMORPG game would be a game that is not only an MMORPG, but you can play it offline also. You can play it by yourself. You can have that single player experience if you want. That would be my perfect Pokemon MMORPG if they had that mechanic to where you don't have to play online. And we have a lot of games like that to this day where you don't have to play online. They have an offline version. They have an online version. You know what I'm saying? Look at, great example, Grand Theft Auto. Look at that. You can play the game offline, online. They have two different mechanics. I mean, they could actually split that game. They could have split that game in two and sold it into different games or as an expansion. But they didn't. They based it all in one game. They had the offline story mode, which was great. And they had the online story mode, which was good, but not as great as the story. I think it's great for it. You know, if it was a standalone game, it would be a great game. But, sorry. My point being is that they did both. You know what I'm saying? So, why not do both? And you can do both. Anyways, back to her.
Pokemon is already hugely successful on. Though I don't doubt a Pokemon MMO would be popular, I don't think it would be popular enough to take down World of Warcraft. And as long as World of Warcraft...
Girl, who are you kidding? Who are you kidding? Who are you kidding? World of Warcraft is popular. Yes, it is. But guess what? It went from, I think it was like 12 million players to now, before the latest expansion drop, which was Warlords of Draenor, or Draenei, whatever, however you want to call it, Draenor. Before that expansion came out, they dropped down to like 6 million people. Something like that, like 6 to 7 million people. They lost almost half of their population. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I do believe that it would take over the popularity of World of Warcraft just because Pokemon is way more popular and it's been around way longer and it has a way bigger fan base. A way bigger fan base. But I'm no longer going to comment on, a popularity thing just because we're stretching this video out very long.
Exists. There just isn't room for another popular MMORPG on the market. Especially with WoW already having Pokemon-esque mechanics incorporated, I don't think a Pokemon MMO would be enough to bump WoW off its throne. There are about 10 million Pokemon players worldwide and 50 million World of Warcraft players. You can do the math. Number 2.
That's because, like I said before, Nintendo caters to a niche group. And when you look at console players, like when you look at the population of consoles and people who play consoles, when you look at it, less people play Nintendo than they do Xbox and PlayStation. PlayStation is the most popular console, then the Xbox, and then Nintendo. That's why there's so many little players. A lot of people don't want to play Wiis. A lot of people don't want to buy Wiis. A lot of people don't want to buy handhelds. A lot of people pretty much think that Nintendo was just outdated in general. You know what I'm saying? So that's why there's 10 million people playing Pokemon games, and then that's why, because nobody wants to play a 2D Pokemon game. Nobody wants to spend money to buy that. A lot of people don't, is what I should say. So that's why there's only 10 million of it, because it's Nintendo, like I said, caters to a niche group. When PlayStation and is way more popular now. Say if they weren't console exclusive, that's where the problem comes in at, is that Pokemon is console exclusive. They're exclusive to the Nintendo. Now, if Pokemon were to be on the PlayStation also, and on the Xbox 360, that would multiply greatly. I would say like at least 200 million people would be playing those games. You know what I'm saying? Because Pokemon is that popular, and then also it's not limited to one console that people, most of the world population, most of the gaming population does not like. You know what I'm saying? First of all, most of the gaming population do not like Nintendo products. Second of all, it is exclusive to those products, so people aren't. That's one of the reason why it's not being bought. But look how many of those. Look, you said 10 million people play Pokemon games, and it's on an exclusive console. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. So just imagine all the people who didn't have the chance to play it because they don't have Wii's and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah. I'm telling you, Pokemon. Pokemon would do absolutely great as MMO.
A Pokemon MMORPG would mean no more main series Pokemon games. If a Pokemon MMORPG were to be made, it would require a lot of resources, and take away from those given to the development of the main series Pokemon games. Given that Game Freak has made it quite clear that they want Pokemon titles to stay on handhelds, and additionally they have zero experience developing an MMORPG, it's likely that if a Pokemon MMORPG were to be made, the rights would be handed off to a third-party company to deal with.
So that's what I'm talking about, traditional, just being too traditional and afraid. I don't understand where the fear is coming from. Now, I do understand, them, giving it, the developing rights to another company and afraid that they may mess up. But when you think about it, I mean, World of Warcraft did the same thing. There were some people, key people from World of Warcraft who helped develop World of Warcraft, but they hired a bunch of new people. Now, what they could do, and they don't have to take all the resources from making the Pokemon MMO, from the traditional Pokemon games to make the Pokemon MMO. All they have to do is just hire people. Hire some people who worked on MMORPGs. Come on, that makes sense. And then hire some people like general managers who will handle the MMO, who has worked on Pokemon games. Come on, she makes us. I'm sorry, I have no problem with her, but she just makes us seem like we can't, we can only work on one thing. Like we're just a linear type of people. Like humans are just so linear. It's sad, man. Wow. She needs to expand her mind, man. I really just think that she has a lack of understanding of how things really work in a real world, and just how this could easily be developed. How this game could easily come to fruition. You know what I'm saying? So, come on, man.
Which means they already aren't guaranteed the same quality we see in the main series games. Aside from that, though, it would be impossible.
Where did she? What? I want to replay that for you because she makes them sound so pathetic. Like if they just get one kick in the heel, like if they get kicked in their ankle, like they're just completely done. They will collapse and never get up. Wow. Okay. Anyways.
Possible for Pokemon to go back to being a handheld game if an MMO counterpart existed. An MMO is a game with endless content, which the handheld games are not. It would just be impossible and silly for the franchise to compete with itself. If we were to get a Pokemon MMO, it would be a trade-off. We would no longer get the main series titles we know and love, but instead a temporary online universe that has the chance of failing. If it did fail, it would also mean the end of the Pokemon franchise as we knew it. And if it did succeed, it still wouldn't be more successful as an MMO than it is now in its current handheld incarnation. Which brings me to my next point. Number 3. The audience for a Pokemon MMO would be significantly smaller than the current Pokemon player base. If the production of the main series Pokemon games for Nintendo handhelds were to cease in favor of this new platform, that would force the Pokemon playing audience to migrate, most likely to PC, given how expensive developing MMOs for consoles is right now. Legally, a PC-oriented online game must require that its players be over the age of 13 to sign up, which means automatically they lose a huge chunk of their player base, even given how popular Pokemon is with adults.
I'm sorry. Say if they were doing a subscription based anyways, you would need a credit card. You know how many kids play World of Warcraft? You know how many little tiny voices I hear play World of Warcraft? Same thing with Xbox Live. You know how many kids I hear on there? And guess what you need to get on Xbox Live? A credit card. You need some type of revenue, which is most of the times they get from their parents. So if you don't buy a gaming card from the local GameStop, you definitely need your parents to use their credit card to sign you up for it. So my point is that there are millions of kids playing Xbox Live, PlayStation, they're playing online, and even playing these PC games. You know what I'm saying? So, oh my God, these excuses are just pathetic. And I'm not coming at her personally. I'm just coming at her way of thinking, because it's really pathetic, man. I really think that she probably doesn't game that much. I mean, I have played every damn console, and I'm not exclusive to any console. You know, I don't favor. The only console that I really don't play that much is the Wii. But I love Nintendo. I had the Nintendo GameCube. I actually had the Wii at one time, not the Wii U, but I had the Nintendo, the Wii, the Nintendo 64. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. Nintendo 64, Wii, GameCube, Super Nintendo. So I had all of those. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't think this girl has enough experience, because she acts like this stuff does not work. She says that the Pokemon players will be forced to migrate over. So not only will you have that core Pokemon fan base, but you will also have millions of other people who never had the chance to play it. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they put on different consoles, because they could definitely put on different consoles. Now, she was talking about back in 2013, and I think this was like slightly before the current gen came out. You know, like the PS4s and stuff like that, which now can definitely handle an MMORPG. I mean, they already have keyboards and mouses that are made for the X. You can actually use those within the PS4 and the Xbox One. So it's not like they don't have the equipment for MMO, and they have the specs to run an MMO. And a lot of MMOs really, I mean, to tell the truth, a lot of the specs for MMOs are very low, because they know that they're going to have a lot of people playing the game, and a lot of people may not have the specs to play a very graphics heavy MMO. Like World of Warcraft, for example, they only recently updated the graphics, and they actually have an option in there where you could tick on the graphics, or and tick it off. You know what I'm saying? But the graphics still aren't anything great. They're great for MMO graphics, only because MMOs are known for not having great graphics. But anyways, back to what she said.
The majority of Pokemon players are still children, especially in Japan. Throw in a possible subscription-based system, and there's also a paywall to deal with. Even the adult Pokemon players aren't necessarily...
Now, that's one of the things that I do agree with her on, the whole paywall thing. I would never want them to go free to play, simply because usually free to play games don't last that long, and they're not really great quality games, free to play games. I do believe that a subscription based game would make a lot more sense, but that will also be where the problem comes in, because kids don't have the money all the time to pay for a subscription based game. And then, that will cause probably some problems. But I really don't think that it's enough to stop the game, because look at World of Warcraft. It's subscription based, and still a very popular game. I mean, I'll tell you, like, I remember a point in time when World of Warcraft was mostly just teenagers and young adults. Mostly just college students playing. But I would say after Wrath the Lich King, that's when I noticed that there was a lot of kids playing too. I mean, a lot of kids. For example, my younger brothers and cousins, they were like 13 years old playing World of Warcraft with us. Like, we were teenagers at the time. My brother was in college, you know what I'm saying? So there were kids playing. I remember playing with kids. My brother was a kid playing with other kids, dueling and stuff. My brother was pretty damn great. He was actually the best hunter on our server. So kids do play these games, and don't think just because they're kids that they won't find a way to play the game, because they will beg the hell out of their parents to play the game. I used to do it as a kid too, you know what I'm saying? So kids will find a way. I mean, it's just like me when I was a kid. We found ways to watch porn. You know what I'm saying? We found ways to get what we want. What we wanted as kids. So, we found ways to get into, rated R movies, and, play games like Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto, for example. We were too young to buy the games, but our parents still got it for us anyways. So don't let the excuse of them being kids, stop this game from coming to fruition, because we know that kids do a lot of things that they aren't allowed to do, they're not supposed to do, play these games, watch these movies and stuff. So I believe that paywall wouldn't stop them, because there's so many other games out there that kids, avoid. You know, they get over that paywall, like, you know, Xbox Live subscriptions. You have to pay for those things. And parents, that's subscription based, just to play online. You know what I'm saying? So, and then all these other MMOs and stuff that they have to pay for, you know, subscription based. They still find a way around that. So I don't believe that argument works completely. But I do believe that a lot of people will be turned off. That's why I agree with her, because I do believe that a lot of people would be turned off by, you know, paying monthly, because some people believe that they should have to pay for a game that they already paid for. And I do agree with that. I do agree that if you pay like about $40 to $60 for a game, that you shouldn't have to pay a recurring fee. I mean, because you already paid for your game. But you have to understand, on a realistic side, they do have to maintain their servers and stuff like that. But then sometimes that's not a good enough excuse, because when you look at you know, Grand Theft Auto, they made so much damn money that they don't make you pay for DLCs. You know what I'm saying? All their DLCs has been free. I'm not saying that's going to be free forever, but it came out 2 years ago, and all their DLCs have been free because they did so well. I believe that Pokemon could do the exact same thing. Not saying that I would want them to be free, but I believe that they had a subscription-based program that would give them an initiative to, you know, to keep the game rolling, because they will see how much money they will make off of us. I mean, because World of Warcraft, they make a killing off of us, man. I remember me and my brother, we did a calculation of how much money they made off of us. They made like thousands. They made, I believe, like in all the time that we had played, within the 7 years of us playing, paying $15 every month, they made off of me alone like $1,500, something like that. I can't remember how much they made, but yeah, it was something like around $2,000, $1,500. So that's a lot of money, you know. Times that by, you know, 60 million. I mean, not 60 million. Sorry, 12 million. That's a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? And like she said earlier,
PC gamers on the side either, meaning they may not have the specs or internet connection to support the game. Suppose, though, that they somehow manage to get all
true, I agree. Everybody doesn't have internet.
10 million current Pokemon players to sign up with the MMO. That is a massive server load for a publisher with very little experience running MMOs. And
that is why you hire people. Man. This is why you hire people. Whenever you watch a gaming developing video where they let you see, you know, inside the makings of the game, they always talk about how they have to hire people outside that has that experience. There's nothing wrong with hiring people outside that has that experience to help you create your game, especially when you have no experience in that field that you're going down. This is why you hire people outside. Gaming companies have done this over and over again. If you go through like, just watch videos of them developing games and stuff like that, they will always tell you how they had to hire people who had that experience. That is not a bad thing. Same thing with Star Wars The Old Republic, when they were coming out with that, because look, for example, Star Wars The Old Republic was a offline single player RPG game that was developed by BioWare. This was a game that was strictly an offline game. But what did they do? They turned that game into a MMO RPG. Now, it may not be the most successful ones, but they definitely made the game. You know what I'm saying? And I remember one of the things that they were talking about during the development of the game, well, while the game was being developed, they used to release like developing vlogs, developers vlogs. And I remember a lot of things that they was talking about was that they went out to hire people who had experience in MMOs so that they can add those mechanics to games. So your excuse of them not having that experience, that's complete bullshit, because all they had to do is just hire people. Hire people who have worked in the MMO field. You know, games do that all the time. They always do that. You know, they hire people who have that experience. That's nothing new to the gaming industry. Whenever any franchise want to add something new into the game, they hire outside of their company. You know, and it's funny because I'm not saying that Pokemon should do this, but it's funny because some gaming companies, like developing game franchise developers, they actually go back and learn new things. Like they actually be like, okay, we're going to halt our production for a while, and we're actually going to learn new techniques. Game developing companies do this all the time, to where they will actually pay to send their developer to school or to somewhere to actually learn techniques so they can apply it to their studios. They actually do this stuff. So, you know, they can either do that or they can hire people who have that experience. It's simple. They do it all the time in the gaming industry. So, back to what she's saying.
Odds are the results won't be pretty. Number 4. Pokemon mechanically doesn't translate well into an MMORPG. In most MMORPGs, the combat is overworld in real time. In a Pokemon game, the combat is turn-based and takes place in a separate instance from the overworld.
Wait. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to clown this chick. But didn't she refer to the Pokemon-esque battle system that they have in World of Warcraft? She did. She even had a video of it. You know, the little deer, little stag fighting, or was it it was a giraffe, I believe it was. Why wouldn't it translate over into the World of... She makes it seem like MMOs are all the same. They're just linear. No, they're not. No, they're not. There are actually turn-based MMOs. Yeah, there are actually turn-based MMOs. And they already have that system in World of Warcraft. So why wouldn't that work in the real world? I wouldn't even, you know, truthfully speaking, I played very little Pokemon games. I had Pokemon Red way back in the day on the Nintendo Color, on the Game Boy Color. That was another system that I had, was a Game Boy back in the day. But anyways, yeah, so I would never expect a Pokemon to just be a free open battle. I will always expect it to be turn-based. I mean, how in the hell else cannot work? That's some future shit that I think that we don't even have the mechanics to have to this day. You know what I'm saying? Because if it wasn't turn-based, they would have to make it to where the person controlled the Pokemon instead of us giving commands, because it just won't work right. It just wouldn't feel right. I don't think anybody who will want a Pokemon MMO would expect it to be anything else other than turn-based. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't expect it to be anything else but a turn-based battle. And that does not take away from it being MMO. What MMO means, just in case she does not know the definition, it means massive multiplayer. Or it means, yeah, massive multiplayer. I believe that's what it means. It's been so long since I have looked up the term, but yeah, it means massive multiplayer. Let me look it up real quick for you.
Just know it.
I don't know which link I want to take down. Okay, so there we go. Sorry about that. It means massively multiplayer online. Yes, I was right. Massively multiplayer online. So it does not mean, I mean, there's all type of MMOs. Like, for example, like I said, Crew is an MMORPG, not MMORPG, sorry. It's an MMO. But all MMOs are not the same thing. There's MMORPGs, there's MMOs racers, there's MMO other things, you know what I'm saying? So it's not just one, like, all MMOs are not the same thing, and Pokemon MMO would definitely work online.
To translate the mechanics from a Pokemon battle into the same combat system you see in most MMOs. To keep the core gameplay from Pokemon attacked in an MMO setting, it would need to be a Pokemon battling simulator, but with a hub world interface instead of just a text lobby. The other option is to change the battling system entirely, in which case the MMO would superficially resemble Pokemon, but not truly mechanically have anything in common with Pokemon or its concept. It might look like Pokemon, but without the deep and robust battling system that the Pokemon games are known for, it's not likely to be nearly as fun. Even though Pokemon is an RPG, it has very little in common with the systems found in most MMORPGs. Wild Pokemon don't drop loot. There aren't tombs, dungeons, or crypts to raid, there's no gear to collect aside from simply aesthetic additions, and the level cap would need to be raised much higher to keep the player feeling like they're accomplishing something. To build the addictive kind of gameplay an MMO requires to keep its player base hooked, they need to change so much about the concept that it won't even be a Pokemon game anymore. Number 5. Pokemon is already pretty much an MMO. Pokemon is already an online game, just on a handheld console. You might not get to chat or interact with other players on the overworld, yet, but the mechanical interactions with other players are built in, with Wi-Fi battles and trading. Aside from being on a handheld rather than a PC, Pokemon is pretty much already what people are asking for. It sounds like what people want isn't really a traditional MMORPG with a Pokemon coat of paint, but just the same game we all know and love with more socially interactive features. Hopefully in X and Y we'll get some of that. We're getting trainer customization and the player search system, which sounds like it'll allow us to chat with our friends in real time as we play the game via Spot Pass, as well as trade and battle with them anytime, anywhere. Supposedly we're also getting some major updates to the global link, but I guess we'll have to wait and see how those turn out. Either way, I have a feeling Game Freak isn't ignoring fans who want an MMO completely, they're just trying to give them what they asked for in a different way. So there you have it, the 5 reasons I think there won't be an official Pokemon MMORPG. It's not that it's a terrible concept. The fact that there's such high demand for it proves there's something there. But it seems like the Pokemon universe just isn't ready to take on an MMO incarnation right now, primarily just due.
No, it's not the Pokemon universe. It is just the developers and the people who fund Pokemon. But anyways, I do agree with her on certain points that she made. Yeah, it would be totally different, but what defines MMO? There's really nothing that defines it except for, massively multiplayer online. There's nothing else that defines it. So for someone to go into a Pokemon game thinking that it's going to be just like World of Warcraft, they're doing themselves a disservice. You know what I'm saying? They're only fooling themselves. And I wouldn't expect it to be the same. I wouldn't expect dungeons. And even if they did want to add like certain dungeons, because there are caves in Pokemon. There are dungeons in Pokemon. There just aren't like bosses where you have to take down, like you need like 20-30 people to take them down. I would never want that in a Pokemon game. I would never want that in a Pokemon game. Now, not saying now they could, change things, to make it fit more into, if they did want to cater more towards what people believe is the traditional MMORPG, they could change up the mechanics slightly to do that. You know what I'm saying? They could make it that maybe a giant Dragon Knight comes down. You know what I'm saying? Dragon Knight is a very powerful Pokemon. Who knows? Maybe it may need to take about 10 players, 5 to 10 players to take down that Pokemon. You know what I'm saying? To capture that Pokemon. Because we have seen it many times before, within Pokemon movies that, like, for example, the first Pokemon movie when they fought Mewtwo. A lot of people teamed up to try to take down Mewtwo and could not do it. You know what I'm saying? So they could easily integrate that in because look, they did in the movie. Yes, it may not be exactly like how the game is, but that's because it's a totally different game. And I believe that if she wants her game, if she doesn't want an MMORPG or any other player doesn't want an MMO version of Pokemon, they could simply just stick to the Pokemon games. The traditional Pokemon games, which truthfully, when you look at it, doesn't take that much to develop. So I don't see where the fear is coming from, of not wanting to make an MMORPG. But anyways, this video has almost got to an hour long. So I'm gonna end it, but yeah, there's no reason why there shouldn't be a Pokemon MMO. I mean, Japan, they're very traditional. They don't like to change. They really don't. And I think that's a bad thing. It's a good thing at the same time. But when it comes to the gaming industry, it's very bad. Because in order to survive in the gaming industry, you have to adapt. And truthfully speaking, people like her aren't the reason why Pokemon are still here. Pokemon and Japanese games aren't here in general. It's the Japanese people specifically, because they're the only reason why their gaming industry survives. Because other than that, Japanese games sales have actually slumped within the past 5 years. I mean, they have drastically lost sales from outside of the Japan because Western gaming has really just took off. You know, the mechanics that they introduced, the graphics and stuff like that. Because at one time, Japan was the king of gaming. There was actually a point where Japan saved gaming. You know, back in the 80s. When gaming was really about to fall off, Japan took a hold of it, you know, and revived gaming. But now Japan has fallen into the slump to where they're not getting the funding that they need, you know, and they don't have the innovation, you know, to make these games. And that's what Kojima was talking all about, you know, back in 2013. He was talking about how, and by the way, it's 2015 when I'm making this video. I know you see a date right there. I just mentioned 2013, but yeah. Anyway, so you know, even Kojima, he was talking about, and that's the guy who created Metal Gear. But anyways, yeah, he was talking about how Japan lacks innovation, and I believe that's the main problem with Pokemon, with creating a Pokemon MMO. Not because they don't have the financial means to do it, because Pokemon is, well, other than Mario, it's the most popular game on the Nintendo. You know, Pokemon is one of the most popular franchises. It's more popular than Mario is, just in general, the popularity. Mario is the most popular game in the world. It was actually